So good morning everyone. Today we are going to study about the topic of the corporate accounting subject, and the topic is the income statement and the cash flow statement, which the company is prepared in order to get the knowledge about the company's financial position. So the very first thing is the abstract part, and in the abstract part we're going to know what is the main thing. The basic tool for any of the company are its financial statements, which provide meaningful information to its users. The next is the body part, and body part we are going to start with the part A, and in the part A it's the income statement definition. What is the income statement? It's the statement which is the very important financial tool of the company, being prepared by the company, which depicts the revenues and the expenses as sustained during the specific period of time. The revenue, it includes the gross revenue and even the sales revenue, service revenue, income received as an interest and as dividend is also included in that. And the next is the expenses part included in the income statement, which includes operating expenses, that are the daily routine business expenses, the depreciation part, which are applied on the tangible and intangible assets, that is the wear and tear loss. And the next is the interest expenses, any of the interest which we are going to pay on the borrowed money. So next is the operating profit before tax. This is the profit on which tax is not applied. The profit has now reached is accounted after deducting or adding the interest income from the operating profit, excluding the income tax from the overall amount. Means it is the profit that is before tax. So after we have the profit before tax, next we are going to apply the income tax on that. This inculcates a tax a company needs to pay to the government, which needs to be deducted from the profit. So moving ahead, that the income statement, why it is a valuable asset for investors. It is a very valuable asset for the investors, as investors are the users of the financial statements for a company. So whether it is worthy to invest in the company or not, it is only the income statement which gives the information about that. So moving ahead, it also gives the information about the net profit, that what is the profit earned by the company in a specified period of time, and even it gives the view of all the expenses as well as the revenues which the company has gone through its the full financial year. It also gives the information about the earning per share, that what is the per share earning of a company for each and every shareholder, and how much a person could earn being a shareholder of a company. So next is it cash flow statement. Cash flow is the statement which tells us about the inflows and outflows of the cash that are results from operations of the company. So it breaks down into the three major parts. The very first is operating cash flow. This is the very first section of the income statement, the cash flow statement, indicating the inflows and the outflows of the cash resulting from its operations. So next is the investing cash flows. This section indicates the inflows and outflows of the income from the investment made by the company. And the last is the financing cash flows. It indicates the cash flows from financing activities. These includes the payment of dividends, funds borrowed, repayment of loan, etc. So cash flow statement, why it is important for investors. It is very important for investors to have the knowledge about the cash flow statement of a particular company, as it is the only thing which gives indication to the investors about the movement of cash during the year, that where the cash is going, where the cash is coming from, what are the sources of cash and what are its uses. It also shows the amount generated from and paid for the daily routine business activities of the company. And apart from that, the investors also had knowledge about whether to invest in the business or not from the inflows and outflows of cash. In addition to that, the main source of finance of the company are also known from the cash flow statement. The next is the major sources of cash for each of the firm which we have studied in this particular assignment. We have just gone through the three major companies: the BHP Limited, the Fantastic Limited, and the Santos Limited. For the very first company we will go through is the BHP Limited. For the BHP Limited, the major sources of cash were the cash generated from operating activities, dividend received, interest received, proceeds from the divestment of onshore in the year 2019. And moving ahead, the uses of those cash which it has earned is the property purchase. The company has also purchased the property from the cash it has earned, and the purchase of plant and equipment, buyback of share in 2019, and also the dividend paid. Moving to the next company we have started is the Fantastic Limited. The major sources for cash for that company was the receipts from customers, proceeds from the share issue in both the year 2018 as well as 2019, and the cash earned was used for the purpose of cost of new issue of shares, payment made for the intangible assets. And last is the Santos Limited. We have studied the major sources of cash were receipts from customers, interest received, dividend received, pipeline tariffs and other receipts, insurance receipts, and all such things which are mentioned in this slide. So next is the profit shown in the income statement is less than the cash flows. Like the different profit we have just calculated in the income statement and the cash flow, why it is different. There is a huge difference between both of these, because in the income statement we do not include the in the cash flow statement we do not include the non-cash items, while in the income statement we just include the non-cash items, that are the depreciation, cost of finance, amortization expenses, as well as the impairment on loss of equity investments. Operating cash flows used to pay capital expenses and dividend. For BHP Limited, was enough cash to pay off the capital expenses as well as the dividends. And also for the Santos Limited, there was extraordinary cash in order to pay the capital expenses as well as the dividend expenses. But moving to the Fantastic Limited, there was no such capital expenditure taking place for this company, and even there was no operating cash flow for the payment of capital expenditure. What was the trend of capital expenditure in the BHP Limited? The capital expenses for BHP Limited shows the rising trend in 2017, as it was US dollar 4663 million, that has gone to the US dollar 5853 million in 2018, and also it has raised to US dollar 7123 million in the 2019. But for the Santos Limited, the trend of capital expenses was varying year to year, as in 2017 it was 534 US million dollars, and which has raised to 2373 US million dollars, and in 2018, because of the investments that has raised in 2018, in 2019 it just again come up to 1033 US million dollars. What was the financial strength? After studying all the three companies, the financial strength was for BHP Limited, the financial strength was the cash flow from operations. It has a large cash flow amount. Rather, moving to the Santos Limited, it does not have that much amount of cash flow from operating activities as compared to the BHP Limited. It has the good cash flow from operating expenses, but not as compared to the BHP Limited. While moving to the Fantastic Limited, the cash received from Fantastic Limited, the cash received from operating activities was not good. It was just declined to the extent it has gone to half in the 3 subsequent years. It was showing the negative balance. And if we go for the evaluation for the lending purpose, Santos Limited is not said to be the good one, because it doesn't possess the good return on investment as compared to the BHP Limited, while the BHP Limited is considered to be the best firm for the lending purpose, because it has a lot of cash from operating activities. So for the conclusion, we can say that from the income statement and the cash flow statement of the three of the companies, it was of vital importance, which have given us too much knowledge about three of the companies. Thank you.